That's what we're doing. Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Nancy Allen, and I serve as the Executive Director for the National Consortium for Health Science Education. And we're so happy that Stephanie Mai is also a member of the National Consortium for Health Science Education. She represents your state education agency as the Health Science State Leader. And we were so excited when she contacted us in the fall and said, I really want all the teachers in my state to have the health science curriculum enhancements. I think this would be very beneficial to them as a classroom teacher. And so we're going to do a statewide purchase. And she was actually the first state that did that. And we've had now we have Kentucky who followed her lead. And just this week we heard from West Virginia who will be following her lead. So we're going to call Stephanie the real trendsetter here that started that whole process. Just a little bit about this opportunity. Stephanie, because she did do the statewide purchase, then we wanted to be able to provide you with some extra training. Katrina and Rhonda are the authors of this wonderful resource. They've done this webinar a couple of times and it's on our website, but this one is really tailored for you. And so we want a lot of exchange here. And I did notice in the Google form that some of you like, I haven't even had time to look at it. That's fine. This will be very enlightening for you as well, because you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been missing. So this is going to be a good hour and 15 minutes for whatever time we have now until about 7 o'clock our time. We're all in the Eastern time zone. So we're working second shift for y'all because that's what we do, right? Rhonda and Katrina submitted a proposal. They're both classroom teachers. We put out an RFP from our organization. This resource has been around since 2012, but it had not had a major refresh. And so we put out an RFP, we selected them to create and develop this project. And they really did above and beyond what we could have ever hoped for. They took it and completely reworked it. I don't know if anybody had used the resource in the past. We thought it was good. There was still good content there, but the standards have been revised a couple of times, and we wanted to make sure that the curriculum was aligned to the standards. Also, what happened after they got the contract was the pandemic. And so that really kind of changed their focus, or really emphasized their focus on adding technology, so that this would be a resource that would be valuable whether you were face-to-face, blended, hybrid, or completely virtual. So it's been a wonderful opportunity for the consortium to be supportive to classroom teachers. And we just cannot brag enough on Katrina Haynes and Rhonda Evett. They're both classroom teachers. They may probably going to tell you a little bit about themselves. I'm just going to tell you that they're wonderful, and what they've done is more than we could have ever expected. So with that, I'm passing them the microphone, and enjoy.
So my name's Katrina. I'm the one driving the slideshow, and my buddy Rhonda is. We're going to take turns sharing, and we're going to make sure that we don't go through this too fast, because there's just so much stuff in this, and we're just going to say there's no way we could cover everything in it this evening. So we're going to try to just show you some basics of the navigation and how you might take that download and go, huh, okay, this is the unit I'm working on. How can I go to it and how can I pull things out? So, as Nancy said, we're both classroom teachers and we just happen to be in the same state, and we both love to use technology. And Rhonda and I just said, we would love to share some of this with other classroom teachers, but we know, and forgive me if my accent gets a little bit too strong. Sometimes it does when I get real excited. But we know that not everybody who teaches health science loves technology as much as we do. We know that. So we tried to make it in a format where you can just take it and just put it up and tweak it a little bit, and it's ready to go. So, Rhonda, you want to chat a little bit before we get going?
Heck yeah. And so since you're driving the slideshow, here we are. We actually we're at EBS here, which is our Education and Business Summit. And I said, we're launching this thing in 4 weeks and we don't have a good picture. So we sat there and took enough selfies so we could get one we were happy with. So my name is Rhonda Evitt, and I am in my 8th year teaching. And I live in the upstate of South Carolina, close to Clemson. I am a respiratory therapist. I'm not a nurse. And I have taught all 4 levels of health science. I've done, in my clinical program, I actually went ahead and co-taught the CNA because I already knew all of that stuff from caring from family members and stuff. But then I transitioned to another clinical studies program where I did certified phlebotomy tech, certified EKG tech, and prepped them for their patient care assistant using the NHA curriculum. So it's a little bit about my experience. And as I came into education, even though I had 30 years and some really good stuff as a clinician, I was still kind of seen as a first-year teacher and a second-year teacher. And it bothered me that I didn't feel like I could be really taken seriously. And I had to find my niche. I had to find something I was really good at. And as I was going through Direct, which is our state program for switching, from industry to the classroom, I loved all of the stuff I was seeing technology-wise, and I'm just made it my passion to get in there and learn technology. And that's what I became very good at. And Katrina shared that with me, and we shared a joy for it. So we talked about doing something for a very long time. And then this came up, and we're just, elated that we were chosen to do it. We learned a lot going through the process, and everything, before I kind of go into it, we wanted to make sure that everything not only was tech friendly, but in the beginning, because we're Google fanatics, we were creating everything on a Google platform. So it's important to tell this part of it, because just, in the first couple of months, we realized we had to use a Dropbox, which is a Microsoft platform. So we had to change everything we had done because none of the templates and everything looked the same. It just changed the format. So we changed everything to Microsoft and PDF and PowerPoint formats. And I stress this because a lot of people are using Google since the pandemic. And I want to show y'all as we go how to do it properly so you don't lose formatting and everything. The other thing we wanted to make sure that we did was make it editable, because for me personally, even though I may like a lot of content from some things that I'm borrowing, I don't teach it exactly the same way. I may add stuff, I may not touch stuff. So I love the fact that we could do it on an editable platform. So whatever you get, you can change. You can add stuff. You can, if you don't like the image we used for a PowerPoint, great. Find one and let us know what it was and plug it in where ours was. So there's all sorts of things you can do with it. So with that being said, I'm going to just kind of dive into it, and I will share my screen. If you will unshare your screen, friend. And where is my share screen? There it is. All right.
Yeah, I just wanted to show that picture right quick as you're going to tell them how it looks like, when you first pull it up.
Yes, thanks for adding that. Excuse me. So I will not be seeing the chat room because of my attention deficit disorder. And if I see the chat room, I can't focus. So Katrina is going to handle the chat, and I'm just going to share my screen. And there we go. And that way I'm just going to kind of start from the beginning.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, great. I'm going to go to, I've got to minimize the rest of you guys. All right, there we go. I'm going to my desktop. And so when you I know I forgot to uninstall some of these, so just forgive me. And if at any time you don't seem to be seeing what I'm seeing, someone speak up. When you download them, you're going to see the zipped files. I know I have a ton of these on here. Like I said, which one is this? Okay, so this one's part one. You're going to have part one and you're going to have part two. So in part one alone, there are almost 800 files. These things are enormous. And so the first thing, and everybody typically jumps right past this part, and I ended up creating a little, just a couple of minutes to show you how to properly download these, because our first intuition, if you've unzipped anything before, is to right click it, and if it's in your downloads, and just it'll say extract. So you click extract, but the difference with this one is there's so much in it. If you don't come to it this way, so you have the file here, and you have to click extract all. When you click extract all, I'm just going to put it back on my desktop so I know where it is. And I'm going to select that, and I'm going to extract. I want you to see how many files start showing up. I'll just say replace the file of the destination. So okay, and it doesn't look like it unzipped properly. So I'm going to redo this because it's supposed to show you how many files are in there. So we're going to, okay, so right clicking, you can click extract all here or from the other screen I was on. We'll extract all again. It should, there we go. 746 items. So if you didn't see that number, and I'm sure you didn't even look for it, what we have found is that if you didn't go through this process, then you are missing a lot of the files in there. We didn't catch on to that for a while, but we did identify it about a month into it. So because some of the other people that we know were downloading them and saying, I thought you said this was in there and we can't find it anywhere. So I physically went in and re-downloaded it until I figured out where the disconnect was. So your part one is going to be these sections, A, B, C, D, E, and those are going to be just instructions and additional help for you. Then we get into foundation standards 1 through 6. So when you download the second one, you'll go through that same process that I told you about. Here's part 2. I'll open it up. So see, if I just double click on it, it shows you the folders, but they are not downloaded. You have to extract all. So I've already got those downloaded about 4 times on here. So that, just make sure you're extracting all, and it shows, I think there's 500 or 600 files that should show on this. If you have already downloaded them, you're not going to know that you don't have them. So I'm going to show you a few things that you can make a note of just to go in and check for and make sure that you have some of this stuff. If you still have the zipped file, if you didn't delete it, I would definitely just try unzipping it, re-extracting it, because it's likely that that has happened.
Rhonda?
Yeah.
I just want to throw in, Nancy mentioned in the chat that now when they get the downloads, it comes with a link to the video.
Good. And
isn't that wonderful?
That is wonderful. And
But see, that was before. See, we probably learned on some of our friends from Idaho because Stephanie was so proactive and got this for her teachers very early. So if you see, I've dropped there in the chat at the enhancements link, you just kind of about halfway down the page is highlighted. It says how to video. Also, I should say, now that you might have realized, oh my gosh, I don't have all this. We are happy to reissue your links. And so I'll put my email in the chat. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I never got all this. I got the links, but apparently I didn't extract all. We trust you. We will reissue your links. So I'll put my email there. Back to you, Ron.
Yeah, thanks, Nancy. So, and if you're like me, and a lot of people are like me on this level, that you've done some of the basic technology before, so you get this really fun thing that you've been waiting for, and you skip over all those little, hey, watch this, and hey, read here, and hey, this, and you skip over all that. And it's funny because on another webinar, one of the state leaders, when we said that at the end, she goes, I'm guilty. I didn't read any of the things that you said, please read first. So she had to go back and redo it. So the things that are there for a reason. And so make sure that you just kind of look at them. So, I mean, it's not going to make a huge difference other than you're not going to have all of the content. So I'm going to show you the basic layout of stuff and how you can navigate it. And then I'm going to just show you one or two of the lessons in here. And then I'm going to let Katrina kind of take it home. This folder right here that says start here, so important. That's why it's in all caps in the very first thing. So if you double click here, it's going to tell you a table of contents. You can kind of see just a rough outline. Here's a preface, which is a little bit about us and everything, how to navigate, and our works cited. I'll throw out there as a PR that we did reach out to Pearson, who I think is now a different name of Savvy or something like that. And yeah, okay. And Cengage, Delmar Cengage, AES Learning, so Health Center 21, Jim Schultz was phenomenal. And then we had Ken Hub, and those guys just literally gave me permissions for anything. So I was so grateful for that. I say I, meaning we. So I do want to kind of give them a shout out. So the next one is, these are resources, web resources. These are links that I personally went through each and every link prior to our last submission and made sure that they were current. So they work. These are things, technology sites that we have used in our classroom. Most of them are free. And if they're not free, I think I made a note of that in there. So I did them by category. So anything that you see here in web resources is going to be, I am telling you, you don't have to do anything for the rest of your life. You just go here and turn them loose. There are so many things in here that you can use to build lessons and let them have some. I know somebody mentioned something somewhere about project-based learning, things like that. This is a great place to go for that. They have virtual labs and worksheets and lesson plans, and so you don't even have to do anything. These are all health science related sites and just general things that you can go to. And each of these sites these are centered around all the health science subjects. Everything you're going to do with health sciences, it's in here. And so it's anything under the other standards. And then these are for creativity sort of stuff. These are the little fun things that you probably haven't learned about unless you are a geek like me and you go and just push buttons. And that's what's happened here. Most of them I was able to put a quick description, but these are hilarious, fun stuff. I actually used one of these that's I have them do a cheesy infomercial for healthcare career pathways, and they have to like be really cheesy. And in there, and one of our students was on quarantine, and she was devastated. So with her group, I showed them one of the things in here that's called Break Your Own News. And it's a virtual news background, and you can type in what you want going along the bottom. And she was able to do a news broadcast from home in that square, and they were able to splice it all together in iMovie, and it was hilarious. It was great. So there's a little bit about that. Here's some technology help for teachers, like assessments and quizzes and things like that. So those are always fun too. I will back up here. General classroom help. This is going to be a lot of our just extras. These are extras that you can use in any of the standards. You can, you can get in and play with them. And this one right here is going to be the digital classroom. This is a couple of things. Katrina did the landing slides. We threw this in just as like the virtual classrooms were getting started and people really didn't know how to do them, all the Bitmoji stuff. And we just created one here for you to play with and have fun with. And you can take stuff out and move it around and change it. It's going to be yours. You own it, so you can do whatever you want to. This is a digital notebook template. And this was fun for me to do because I had wanted to do one, and now I finally had an excuse to. So the great thing about, there's an editable one, there's an uneditable one, and you can get in here and play around. But what I really like about this is when you click on where it would be tab 2, see tab 2, here it is. It shows the tab here. And so I have to go by slide to do that, tab 3, tab 4. But here on the second slide is where I have told you everything you need to know about this thing and how to put stuff in there. So there's also a little way for you to go in and do a table of contents for them or show them how to do it. So that was just kind of some fun stuff we did. The rest of it's just going in and, you know, playing. I mean, there's these sharing protocols, I will tell you, because I don't know if she's going over them today. Sharing protocols, Katrina loaded in a ton of articles. She's the article queen. I am not. But these are discussion protocols, and there's also a fun little worksheet that goes with any of her discussion protocols that is like for the kids to write stuff out as they go. Is it this one, the writing dissection? I think it is.
That's the one they can take and like use an article off the internet. That's the rubric for how you grade.
Yeah, and
that's actually coming up. I got that
here
one
it is.
pulled up.
Oh, you do? Okay, then I won't go to it.
Keep rolling, sister. Keep
rolling.
rolling.
You got it. You had coffee. I didn't. Okay, so to prep our students for the completers test, something I always had to, you know, I struggled with that. I struggled with it for years. And so over the years, I created a bunch of like Quizlet of the practice test and Kahoots of the practice test. And I'm actually a huge fan of Socrative. And if you haven't used it, you need to use it. And I also like quizzes. And those are super, super easy to just upload one of these templates for. Well, so one thing I did for everybody, because of digital learning and because all of these, you know, game sites and teaching sites have templates you can just throw information into and upload them to the site. I thought it would be great if we just did a generic. These are all just Excel sheets of all of the foundation standard stuff. So we have all of them in an Excel file just for you to be able to use it in whatever. Let's see. Sure, I'll say it. We don't want to do that. So if you do have a format you want to use, you can use it. We have the PDF copies like you're used to seeing. In the old enhancements, you would see these PDF assessments at the end of the actual substandard, but we did them all in one place. They're not at the end of the substandard anymore. And we did Word, and we did these templates for these two websites. So if you are on Socrative, you can go in there, add quiz, upload quiz, and you would upload it and it's already named for you and everything. The only one that you don't have in here is going to be a couple of them that were nothing but a bunch of images and graphs. And I believe I noted that. These are augmented and virtual reality that I'm not going to go into because those are Katrina's babies. And hold up. I'm not seeing help videos. Okay, I'll come back to that. My help videos aren't there, which makes me wonder if this is one of the ones that wasn't extracted properly that I did as an example. So we'll find out in just a second because I'm going to show you how. So of course, here's all of our anatomy and physiology. And we did do heavy, I'll just tell you, we did heavier stuff in some of the more common sections. There's some of them that are a little bit lighter than others, but what's important to know is if you do have them there, then they don't have a lot of, you know, lists of content. There's also all of the anatomy sites that I listed in that first web resource. All of those are going to have stuff on these. So it was like not reinventing the wheel. I'm going to hit body organization first. And every single one of these substandards, when you click on it, you're going to see these three things, or one or two of them. Start here is the most important, and then there's your activities. And if there's AR or VR, they're going to be separate from those. So I'm just going to click on start here because everyone looks over it. Here's your table of contents for this little substandard, and you can look at a glance without having to go file and file and file and file, and you will see every activity we have in it. So if you see something and go, ooh, that looks fun, you have it right here. You can go looking for that by name. And you'll see that anything that is in a doc form is also in a PDF form. So it's either or. So there's your table of contents, and your body organization outline. All of the substandards are going to have this outline. You're used to seeing this also, but it's in a different format. And I want to kind of clear up some of the confusion that you've probably all had. So we just needed to have something that kind of, we could just kind of line up the activities that went with, you know, as you go with the outlines. And so we did just that. We put over here in this margin, you're going to see a whole lot of different things here. And where you see it matches up with where it is in the outline. So we just lined up all of the activities to go right with that part. So you didn't have to dig through everything. If you see this little symbol, that means it's digital. If you see this little symbol with all the little people, that means it's a group activity. Or it can be. Then you're also going to see some things with printers, and those can be digital or print, either way. So that where there were a lot of people when we were helping people out over the summer, we realized there were a lot of people who didn't have technology or one-to-one devices, and we needed to make it accessible for them. When we first started, and I told you we started off in Google, we did have all of these that you see here were hyperlinked. So all you had to do was click on them. But when we had to change formatting, we couldn't hyperlink anymore. So we went through all of these and we just unlinked them. There were so many that it took, you know, hours. So we unlinked everything. So, but a lot of people still mistake it for being a hyperlink because it's underlined. So I want to point out that if it's in black and it's underlined, it is not a hyperlink. And
Rhonda?
if it, yes.
Just real quickly, we've got a question in the chat about a key for the symbols on the left side. I'm pretty sure she's talking about like the people and the little icons.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Go ahead. What's your question?
Well, no, I just wondering, should I be taking notes on what all these symbols mean, or is there a symbol key somewhere that I can reference later when I forget what all the little cute pictures are?
Well, there is not a key, I don't think, but I will tell you there's only 3 symbols.
Oh, okay, perfect.
There's 3 symbols. It's either digital or it's group or it's printable. So that just kind of lets you know right off the bat, is this something I would be able to do or I would want to do in the classroom? I'm looking for a digital resource. Let's look at all the ones that have the iPads on them.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So if you have a blue underlined anything in the entire enhancements, and you can hover over it and you see this click plus control plus click, then that is a hyperlink and it is going to the web. It's going to take you somewhere to the web. So that is a really good way for you to just kind of see what the outlines are about. They're all going to have a presentation with them. This is something, like I said, some of them are heavier than others. And this is for you to use in your classroom as you teach, so you don't have to create anything. And it goes down by the different, it's basically your outline in PowerPoint form in most cases. Some of them we held back on. Some of them we put a whole lot of information in. So this is really, and a couple of them I went really crazy with my images because I just love them. And I threw images in there for body plans and cavities and things like that. So those are just for you to use as a teaching tool. I'm going to hit just one of the activities, and that is and I think mine's the old version. Let me look at it, because every time I try to click on this, it's there it is. I think this is correct. Okay, so these are the printable ones, and you have, these are my 9 region flashcards. And I started this in a complete act of desperation, my first year teaching, and it stuck and it did so well. I was like, holy moly. So I taught the kids, we would make our own flashcards. And so I was able to do digital version, and this is where you would print these out for the kids, and they can color, you can print them in black and white. They can make their own, and you cut them out on like little half-size cards and glue them. And then on the back, they would write whatever that correct region is. So they're able to do flashcards for the regions. I have something similar for directional terms that is stick people directional terms. And that's another act of desperation that worked well for me. Here it is, directional term flashcards. And so if you happen to, okay, since we're here, I want to show you how this is PDF and this is a PowerPoint. This is supposed to be saved as a document. It is the only file in every single part of the enhancements that I won't even go into, having to rename them all, but this one was supposed to be saved as a .docx, and it got saved as a PowerPoint, but they went in and fixed it. And so if you go in and try to open this and it's PowerPoint, they have the fix. You just email Nancy and she can send you the fix for it. And so that happened very early on. Thank goodness that we figured that one out. So that's, all of these are going to be laid out just like this. And some of them, like cardiovascular, you're also going to have in your start here, you're going to have web resources. And that's from that main page I showed you, but these are only for the heart. These are like really heart focused. And so this is going to keep you from having to dig through all of them. And every substandard is going to have this web resources if there were enough of them for me to put in a separate document. So I'm going to hop into another standard, and it's going to be, the one I'm going to go into is going to be in section 2. That's not it. There it is. And it's going to be in health maintenance practices. All right. I'm going to open this up here, and I'm going to come back to it because I'm going to let Katrina get in some time on some of her stuff. And I'm going to come back to it, but specifically, we're going to be looking at the sleep hygiene project. And if I don't get to go through it, at least you know it's there and you can maybe peek through it and ask me any questions. So I'm going to quit sharing, and I'm going to go off my mic, and I'm going to let my Katrina take over.
Okay, thanks, Rhonda. All right, so you can see there's tons of stuff in there. We don't have to convince you about that, right? So I decided I was just going to take one standard and just kind of break it down, how, what you would do if you had one unit to teach. So, all right, so I'm going to share my screen. All right, so here I am, Katrina, opening up my enhancements. And just so you know, when you download it, we've had some people ask, where should I put it? Can I put it in my Google Drive? Can I put it in Dropbox? Should I save it to my computer? Don't save it to your work laptop. Here's why. I mean, if your school individually paid for it, did you know that technically your school owns it? And they could ask, well, anyway, so just be cautious, because if you download it on your personal device, you can take it wherever you go if you change schools or whatever. So I have mine saved to my Google Drive because I can access that everywhere, but you don't have to use Google Drive anyway. So like I said, so here I am, I'm teaching communications. So I want to look at the enhancements because my brain is fried and I don't want to have to think of something else to do. And this is funny, but Rhonda and I talked about this. We forget that our own stuff is in there, and we forget to use our own stuff sometimes. And I did this the other day. See her shaking her head. I did this the other day. I pulled up the enhancements and I said, wow, I should have done that. Anyway, so here I am. I'm teaching communications, and I pull up the enhancements. And then this folder, I see that it's broken down by standard numbers into, different types of communication, medical terminology, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to open up 2.1. So I open up that folder, and this is like the start here folder. And then it tells me in that standard 2.1, all the different things that I'm going to find in there. I'm going to find an outline, a presentation, a list of all the web links that I could use in addition to all the other stuff. And Rhonda did a great job of putting all these bazillion web links in there. And I'm going to see a list of all the different activities that are in there. Okay, so I'm going to click a little bit farther, and inside that I'm going to open up the outline. Now you already saw Rhonda pull one up, but like I said, I'm focusing on communication. I want to find something new to use. So this outline has the activities on the left, and on the inside it breaks down the standards a little bit farther. And it gives you this kind of the substandard parts that you need to be sure to include, like barriers to communication. So, for example, the physical barriers and the psychological barriers. Okay. And then the other things that in theory you should cover during communication. And I noticed down here that this YouTube video, that looks cool. Here's a TED Talk about healthcare. So I think I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pull that up later and include that. But first, I want to look at my presentation. And that was in that folder, you know, back here when you click open that a little bit farther. So here is my presentation. And this one, because communication is a huge one, this one is one of those that's got more graphics and more specific information on how to break down those components, like the difference between verbal and nonverbal, that kind of thing, barriers, summarizing, reflecting, that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to say right here is a place where you could open that up and add your name and your school in there and add in some of those things that you want to add. Let's see, insert, let's see, new slide. Okay, I just added my own slide. Maybe you want to add in block 1 through 4 is going to do this, and then you can add that and tweak whatever. That's really easy. Okay, so like I said, this presentation has got all the components that you need. You don't have to make one up if you don't feel like it. So here's one of the activities that was in the outline, the Lego communication activity. So I'm going to check that out and go, Legos. I've got Legos. Let's see how hard this is. Here's the supplies, directions. Okay, I think I can do that. All right. So I've got my activity. Let's see. Then I'm going to look at, okay, so here's another activity, making a speech board. So this is tied to nonverbal communication and physical barriers to communication. So my sister is actually a speech therapist, and she talked to me. I made this one. She was talking to me about different kinds of things you can do to make a speech board, and it might look different for different people depending on what their priorities are. So this is something where you could have a student say, okay, pretend like you can't talk or you've had a stroke. If the only thing you had was this list of 9 pictures to be able to communicate what you need, what would you put on there? A Big Mac, a toilet, I don't know, whatever. Me, I wouldn't put Starbucks, but let's see. I would put a picture of a Diet Coke on there. Let's see, what else? Yeah, Diet Dr. Pepper. Anyway, so that is a really good thing that you can use. Like I said, you can print this out. You don't have to know how to use all the files. But if you're teaching, ladies, throw up your hands. Are you teaching virtual and face-to-face at the same time? Yeah, I thought so. So guess what? You can take this file, you print it out for your face-to-face people. They can draw on that. And then for your virtual people, you email it to them. They can Google images and just copy and paste. Not a big deal. Okay, so I hope that helps you a little bit. See how you can open up that folder, see all the different things in there. You don't have to use all of them. But it just kind of gives you a taste of how we've tried to tie this together so you can navigate each one of the standards and kind of pick and choose what you like, because we know you've got good ideas too, but we're just trying to give you a few that we've used that we know works. And we really focused on adding things that you can use in face-to-face and virtually at the same time. So I just want to show you this one real quick. This is an activity in communications, but it's in one of the other substandards for medical terminology. Okay, so let's see. So this is how to make visual flashcards. And you guys, I'm sure you know what Bitmojis are. But the important thing is you don't have to know how to make them, because you know your students are on their phones in your classes doing that kind of thing, right? This is how you make technology work for you, sisters, because you know they already know how to do that, right? Okay, so let's say you're doing medical well, it doesn't have to be just medical terminology. It can be your vocabulary in any unit. Okay, so if you have a student that has a phone, and who doesn't, you know your students have a phone, they can make their own visual flashcards by using Snapchat. Oh, let me just put back right quick. They can use PowerPoint if they're on a computer. They can use Google Slides. They can use Instagram. Oh my Lord, the things kids do with Instagram, and Snapchat. Now, let me just say, you don't want to ask your students to Snapchat you with their assignments, because no. But they can make a Snapchat or whatever these other things are. They can screenshot it and then send it to you. And here's how this works for you. This is real easy. And again, you don't have to know how to do this. They already know. So let's say you're doing infection control, and you can assign each student a vocabulary word. And you have them take a picture and then put some kind of note on it, and it has more significance to them. There's a whole bunch of teachery explanation for that. But when they engage with the text and the vocabulary term, they remember it better. So here's an actual example from a teacher friend of mine. She did this, and here was one that a student actually made for parasite. So this is the student. Obviously, you don't know who it is, but they took a picture of themselves and something that they called a parasite, and then they typed in the definition up there. So let's look at some more. Nosocomial infection. They literally took a picture of the definition inside of the textbook. If you have a Simmers, that's literally a picture of the word off of Simmers, and then they added it onto a slide and then put some key pictures in there that would help them remember what nosocomial infection was. And so if you have face-to-face students, you can print these out and post these on the wall. If you have virtual students, like I said, if they're each making up 1 or 2 slides, you could put them all together, and it really helps them remember this. Okay, so here's one for antisepsis. This one was made with a, phone app. So that's Pic Collage. And that's okay if you don't know how to do that. The important thing is, again, your students know how. But guess what? This works for your ESOL students. This is a great way to help to differentiate. You know, you're always looking for activities to differentiate, right? When you're being observed, stuff like that. And we know vocabulary is one of the hardest things. So here's an ESOL student who got the definition, added the pictures. They actually drew something, then took a picture of that, added it in there, and they added what the word was in their own language. Okay, I'll show you a few more. culturally inclusive. This checks all the boxes. And y'all, I shouldn't say y'all, fellow teachers, it's really just the student putting their own spin on each one of those vocabulary things. I could talk about that all day, but it's a lot of fun. I'll show you just a few more. And there's, again, another picture from the Simmers. Okay, so like I said, that's in there. That's part of the enhancements. That you could really use that in any one of them. Here's another activity you can use in any of the units. It is called technical article dissection. So you can tie this to, this one you're talking about. You can tie this to literacy, all those wonderful directives that your administration wants you to do for literacy and that kind of thing. Yeah, so we know, Rhonda and I know, you don't have time to teach grammar and comprehension and stuff like that in your class, right? But we know that all that is a part of being a successful healthcare worker. But we ain't got time to teach these children how to write summaries of articles, right? So here is something that you can use. You can give them this graphic organizer is the official name for what this type of form is. And so you hand them a blank one. You can use this with current events and whatever you're teaching, or you can legal and ethical, whatever. You give them an article and then they literally just go like the middle column, the left explains what they're doing. The middle is where they start. This article is about hemorrhoid cream and whatever, I don't know, because hemorrhoids are very prevalent in people who spend a lot of time sitting. I don't know. The research is done by professors at Clemson University. I don't know. So I'm sure you can figure out the rest. So the far right column is where they make any other notes about that. They can kind of sort of rewrite what's in the middle. And then when they get ready to share the summary of the article that they've read, they can literally just take everything in the right column, put it together, and that's their summary. And let's see, here is also a rubric for grading their summary of the article. So you don't have to figure that out either. Okay, so I hope that that's helpful. So I just want to show you a couple other things. Doodle notes. If you've heard of those, sometimes people call them sketch notes or something like that. So we took some examples and kind of redid them specifically for some of the units. So doodle notes, sketch notes. This is what you use for your visual learners. You don't have to have everybody do it. Of course, it helps when you're doing a really hard subject. So here's where the students can write or type the different kinds of vital signs. They can doodle on it. They can, if they're doing it digitally, they can copy and paste pictures in there. Add their thoughts about it, all kinds of stuff. And it's got some pictures on there where they can draw the pulse points, that kind of thing. Let's see, other important things. So you can add this in there because we gave you a blank one. And this blank one, you can add your important things. I'm sorry, I don't know why my husband doesn't answer that darn phone. There we go. And wanted to show you, I know you can't read this, but also in the Rhonda has done like a summary of all the web activities, and it's in one of those files with all the links. Why can I not make that bigger? Anyway, so just know that there's so much more than you could ever use in here, and you can, like I said, just start off by opening up that folder, clicking it open, looking at the simple summary of what's in there and click open what looks interesting and then just go from there. I hope that that helps. And if you've got any questions, drop them in the chat and let's answer what you guys want to know. Have we completely just blown you out of the water? We tried to make it organized, but this is a short amount of time for a lot of
We still
stuff.
have till 7, and we still have like 30 minutes, don't we?
Yeah, correct. I will let the presenters take a little breath because they've been chatting away. While we've been on this at this meeting, 3 teachers have said, well, one teacher said, oh, I found it now. I gave them the date when they would all have gotten the links would have been September the 22nd. And so a couple of teachers I'm going to reissue because it may have gone to spam and maybe they've emptied their trash since September. But then one teacher says she's downloading it right now as we speak. So it's going to be helpful for them to have this recording to go back to and pick up on some of the things. All right. Yeah, you still have 30 minutes. And so I don't know what y'all want to cover or if we want to tell people to unmute themselves and let's hear from them.
Well,
let's hear from y'all.
Yeah, I mean,
would love
if
to
there's
hear from you.
anything, we have a couple of other lessons on the back burners to just kind of walk you through that. At first glance, you probably wouldn't, number one, be looking for it. Number two, really at first glance go, oh, that sounds amazing. So, there's so many little nuggets hidden in here that we're still going to hit a few of those. But in the meantime, I mean, please ask us questions if there's something you don't know if it's in there or not. Just unmute and go for it or type it in the chat. If not, if y'all are good to go and just breathing in and breathing out, we'll just keep on pushing.
Rhonda, you wanted to share that project of yours. So, right. So while you're pulling it up, I just want to talk just a minute about what you guys can do with all those doggone Excel files. If you're like me, I'm not a big fan of Excel, but if you have to raise your hand, ladies, do y'all do very much like digital review games like Kahoot or anything like that? Do y'all ever use? Okay. All right. If you use Kahoot, thank you, Carrie, or quizzes, answer me this. How much time do you spend typing in all those stupid questions? Right. Okay. You feel me? All right. So Rhonda has spent, I don't know how many hours, taking those questions from youth science that have been on some of those, assessments. And she has put all those together by units. And all you have to do is open up that Excel file and import it straight into Kahoot or quizzes or whatever. And that's all you got to do.
Awesome. Well, I did throw something in there. If you're not familiar with Kahoot and with Socrative, or even if you are, if you want me to walk you through the process and let you see how it legit takes like 15 seconds to do this, and I can show you what mine looks like, y'all, Socrative is amazing. So I use it for a few different things. If you would like for me to do that, type that yes in the chat. And after I go through this fun little sleep lesson I have here, then I'll be happy to hop on because it will not take long at all. So I'm going to share my screen now and I'm going to walk you through, because I'm a respiratory therapist, sleep and the lack of is near and dear to my heart.
And
so
Carrie says, yes, please show the other thing when you get done.
Okay, great. So I'll be happy to. So I'm going to go into the part 2 files just so you can see how I got here. And can you all see my screen? Yes. Okay, thanks. So this is going to be in health maintenance practices. And, some of the stuff that's been like complementary and alternative medicine, the things that were all a part of the first standard for so long, history of medicine, everybody hated teaching history of medicine except for me, because I loved it and I loved it. And so as I started digging through here and having to basically memorize every standard, some of the complementary medicine and other things started showing up. They're just spread throughout all of the enhancements a little bit differently. So again, we're going to go to health maintenance practices. Here's you a fun little start here file, but I'm going to go straight into exercise, nutrition, and sleep. And I'm going to hit the sleep one. And so as an RT, and as a concerned parent after raising 2 teenagers that drive without any sleep and are on, we're on their phone or video games all night, and half of my class passing out in the first 15 minutes of class. I wanted them to know what happens to your body if you don't sleep. So I did a really fun little sleep project that I loved. I didn't even know the project existed until I knew what I wanted to do, and as I found resources, it was great. So I love starting out with this article here because this is a great quick summary. And this is also going to explain things like circadian rhythm and things that they're not going to understand, maybe the big picture of. So using the article dissection would be a great way to launch this lesson, and it wouldn't take them long at all. The sleep hygiene project, I put it into action last semester for the very first time. And I actually, because I didn't have my ducks in a row about it yet, I had created it and gone through the process, but I hadn't used it yet. So I did this as an extra credit lesson or project they could do over a period of 7 days. And if they did it and they did it well and met all my submission deadlines, then they could replace their lowest major grade with this. And it went over pretty well. So we kind of went through this little PowerPoint, goes through what the situation is here, how it impacts them. It also is like, what do you mean by good sleep? And so even if they may sleep for 12 hours, they've got their TVs blaring and their phones waking them up every 30 seconds. And so they're not getting into good REM sleep. They're not getting that recovery time their brain needs and their body needs. And they don't understand that. They just think that they, that they aren't retaining things and that they've got too much stress. And if they would realize what the root of it is, sometimes this lays at the bottom of that. Explaining what a circadian rhythm is and how that impacts them. And explaining the sleep stages. And what it means to be in REM sleep and why is that important. And if you don't go about it in this natural way, then it can impact you. It explains what these 4 sleep stages are and what happens to your body during that time. And these are some things that they can personally do just to make some small adjustments in their daily, in their daily routines. We actually did, along with this, we did this with the nervous system. And we also did a hit on natural medicine and biofeedback with this. And I have a set of headphones. They could listen to biofeedback tones by just changing their thoughts. And it was crazy. And we went through a meditation app, and I taught them how to meditate. And they wanted to do this meditation background sounds and lights out for all of their tests and stuff, and the grades soared. I can't even tell you. So these are some quick little videos. Probably, if I'm guessing, I got these from TED, the TED Ed lessons, and there's some stuff on the CDC about it as well. And here's your project. So here's your instructions, and it'll tell you what to do. You find your sleep app that there's a bunch of them out there. And if they have an Apple Watch or a smartwatch, that's going to be the better way to go because it'll give much more detailed monitoring. And actually, Apple Watches have an app on them called Pillow, and it already does this. It's under the health apps. I have to take a drink. Hang on. There's a sleep diary that they can log their data on. And since most of the versions aren't going to print out your graph or PDF unless you pay for them. They can track them by day and just screenshot the trends and put them up in side-by-side pictures, and it shows how much time they were in REM sleep, and they need find a way to monitor stuff. You know, I had mine check their blood pressure and pulse when they first came into class in the morning, and they had to log it, and you saw a difference. You did. So there's the sleep diary here. I'm just going to be real. I'm not as crazy about the sleep diary as I am like one that I would create that I can understand. But this is a really good template to go off of. And here's your instructions. And here's your rubric that you could use. I just did a generic one. It's all up to you. A lot of mine had to do with deadlines that they had to meet. And here's some apps they can use. And here's some white noise apps they can use to sleep at night rather than have their TV on. And here's the amazing credit. So I love that project. It's worth just trying out. It's worth doing yourself, honestly, because you learn a lot about your body. And so I'm going to open this up. Are there any questions before I go to Socrative? I see a couple of things in the chat.
Gary says, very cool.
Thank
Nancy says, neither are you, but I'm not really sure what she meant.
Okay, and Nancy elaborate.
It was about her sleep. She said they aren't getting their proper sleep, and I said neither.
That's true.
Ever.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So here we go. I'm going to walk you through the Socrative process, and I'll go here to Chrome. I'm going to open this box. No, I'm not. I'm going to go to this Chrome and go here. Look at all my tabs. I told you not to judge me. So, so here is Socrative. Here's the make that go down. All right, so here is Socrative. It is literally just socrative.com. You're going to go to teacher login. And so you would create your account there. You can create your account with Google, sign in with Google. And so if you have a non-paid account, it's going to give you a generic name. And this is my generic name. So here's my generic name. It's been the same room number for 7 years. This year, I spent the money, and I think it was $45 or $60 for a year for this. And the reason I did it is because being virtual sometimes, I've been on quarantine 3 times since October. Half my students at home quarantine, half of them in the class with a sub. One of our teachers got horribly sick with COVID, and she had a health science 1 class that was just kind of left, and I volunteered while I was quarantining, doing my stuff. I brought hers into the mix too, and I taught these kids I've never met in my life. So I at that time I did that because you can have separate room numbers, and so you can have multiple quizzes open at a time. If you have the unpaid version, you can only run 1 quiz at a time, and so that worked for me for many years. So this is your launch thing. This is where I would go to launch a quiz. So I would click here. You go, here's all my foundation standards tests, because I did a little shortcut thing and uploaded them all after I finished doing them for the enhancements. But I've got drug of the week, and I've got all the different folders for different classes, med terms, whatever. I've got millions of these things. And so if I'm going to start a quiz, you would hit quiz, choose the quiz, and then it walks you through that process. Space Race is a really fun game for them to do live. You can do a daily exit ticket through here. I'm going to maybe get some haters. Probably Katrina might be one of these. I struggle with exit tickets. I really struggle with exit tickets. It is more harm than good for me because I can't keep up. And so I choose to do things a little bit differently than that. So if you want to upload these quizzes, here's what you do. I'm going to go to quizzes, and I'm going to add a quiz. You can create a folder. I don't remember if that's a paid thing or not, but you can create different folders. But I'm going to add a quiz, click. import, click. Now, the template, they have the template for you to do to create quizzes for other things other than these practice quizzes. So for your midterms and your reviews for your tests or whatever you want to do, you can use the same template and type your own information in, or you can just type them directly here into the site. So I'm importing. And now I'm going to choose my file. Here's where you would download that blank template if you want to use it for other things. Here's choose file. I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to go to curriculum enhancements part 1 because that's where all those assessments are. Then I go to assessments. Here's my Socrative templates. And I'm going to choose to do the nervous system. So I'm going to double click. Done. I'm done. I'm all done. That was it. That's it.
And you have 51 tabs open, Rhonda. I counted while you were talking. So nobody needs to feel bad about.
I cannot even.
Saying.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I just wanted to point out to y'all in the enhancements, Rhonda has got them separated out by quizzes and Socrative and something else I didn't even see.
Yeah, those are the only. Then I did the PDF and the Word, and then just a general one in case there's other ones that come up. But here's that quiz I just did. Now let me show you why I love this. I'm gonna go to results. I had one kid. Let's see. Let me go to reports, and it should. So here's my drug of the week. I don't want to do that one now. I want to do my midterm 5. Let's try that one. Okay, that one's not it either. Let me go to PM Fall. And yes, I want to change rooms. And I'm going to go to my reports. And I'll show you why I love this. All right, so it's not, you can actually put this up on the screen in your room and not show the names. And the kids will be able to, oh, this was a makeup quiz. It's not going to show y'all nothing. And it'll actually show all the greens and the reds I'm about to show you. So you can show names, responses, results. This you can toggle to either show you the score or the progress, because I want to know when everyone's done without asking them 35 times who's still taking their quiz. So this tells me when everybody's done. This tells me the score, and I can show the responses, and then I show the results. And this singles out what questions got missed. If you see one, and I believe there is one on here that a bunch of people missed, I think I already took it out. But like if you have a column where like almost everybody misses the question, you can go up here and go, wait a minute, and you click it and it goes. That's actually one of them that it was. And you can see what it is, because it, if you've created one and the answer's wrong, or you may think the answer's kind of too close, you can go in here and edit this afterwards. So, but it gives you literally a snapshot of understanding of this subject. And if there's 3 questions that most people got wrong, then you need to just review those 3 questions. You don't gotta go through the whole lesson. These are the things they didn't pick up on. And this gives you a percentage at the bottom of correct answers for each question. So if I get one that's like 40-something%, I'm gonna hold up, wait a minute, and we're gonna pause right then and there and review that question and the answer, and I need them to find why that is the answer. So
Rhonda,
yeah, I'm coming off.
Question.
Yeah.
Karen is asking if you could put this in Canvas. That's one of those. Do you use Canvas, Rhonda? Is that your like classroom management thing?
No,
Okay.
but there are some. I know anything that you can upload. Okay, so you mean can you use Socrative with Canvas?
I'm sorry. I'm guessing that she means uploading your Excel files into Canvas.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
think
because they are Microsoft Excel files. You can upload them straight in there.
and Schoology.
If you are able to upload flat out Microsoft Excel folders or files into anything in Schoology, you can do it. I mean, these are Microsoft files. I use some of the templates. Let me show you if you're looking in that file where the assessments are, the very top one, excuse me, in assessments here, this one right here, excuse me, the assessments and keys Excel. So it's all of the assessments in an Excel form. And that's it, there's no specific format it's with. These are all Excel. And so you should be able to upload them into any platform that accepts Microsoft Excel.
And just real quickly, in case people don't know, if you're a Google school, usually you can do Excel too, but if you have to put it up in Google, all you have to do is upload your Excel file into your Google Drive and it will convert your Excel file into a Google Sheets file.
Yeah, with Socrative, I found that trying to merge those Excel files into Socrative with the Google Sheets does not work. Everything is just, they had it in there for a year or two, didn't work. So if you're going to upload anything to Socrative, use those Microsoft assessments and use their template, because it just works best that way. So, but you saw it took literally 0 seconds to just click a couple of buttons and you've got every practice assessment to have them log in and do for a bell ringer.
So I just want to shout out really quickly to the previous versions of the enhancements. The previous versions were awesome, and if you've had those, then they came with the pre-made tests, and it was all in paper format, or it came on a thumb drive. I think the last version came on a thumb drive anyway, but it was stuff that you could print out and give, paper format and everything. This is the first version where when you order it, you can get it instantly, and that you get the files where you can, use it digitally or print it out or whatever. So the previous enhancements are a good thing, but we feel like you can kind of tweak this a little bit more to your individual classroom. But all those Excel files, oh my gosh, that will save you so much time.
I actually used some child slave labor for that because people wanted, some of the kids wanted to not for this one, but for all of my Socrative stuff. When I first started doing it, they wanted extra credit, and I said, I'm not doing extra credit, because that means I create extra work for you to extra do, for me to extra grade, when you could have done it right the first time. But you can create here's a template, and I would give them templates from all of these different platforms and say, here, if for every practice quiz you make off of your worksheets that you have at least 25 in, you get 25 points. And so I would wait till they would have a 100 points, and I would switch it out for one of their minor grade zeros. So, but I tricked them.
Okay,
What can we show you in 11? Okay.
I got a question. Not from the chat, but I mean me. Because we know that not everybody has time to learn all the tech stuff. But Rhonda, what is your favorite tech tip? Technology tip.
Oh, gosh.
If you're trying to figure out, okay, let's say you had Canvas and you're trying to figure out if you could use Excel files, what is your favorite tech tip for trying to figure out how to do something?
Katrina, how dare you? You need to go first with that. You know how my brain
Okay, I know
is.
what mine is.
Go.
Mine is YouTube. Okay. If you don't have time to look up anything anywhere else, and you're doing your lesson planning Sunday night at midnight, you are. Yeah, I know you are. So am I.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to figure out how to do something.
Rhonda's not, because she's asleep. She's not. Her at 11 midnight.
I'm an REM.
So
Yeah.
YouTube. When you're trying to figure out
the rest of the people on here are. Yeah.
Everybody else is better at planning their time than I am. So yeah, if you're trying to figure out how to do something, go to YouTube, type in the search box literally what you want to know. How do you upload Excel files to Canvas? I promise you there's some poor teacher somewhere who spent their time making a video on it. I promise.
Mm-hmm.
So Rhonda, what's your favorite way to solve your tech problems?
I mean, depending on what the format is of my tech problems, and whilst doing the enhancements and getting and distance learning overnight, and not knowing if I was going to be distance learning or not for the next school year, and then getting quarantined overnight 3 different times. So basically getting punched in the face into March again 3 different times. If do no, let me. Do y'all use Google for anything? Yes, no, sort of, maybe for some of your
See head
platforms.
shaking. And Carrie's
Love
raised
that
her
thumbs
thumb.
up.
Carrie raised
Okay.
her thumb. Teresa's shaking her head.
So we do use Google Classroom and Google platforms, and so the go into the Google Digital Academy or Shake Up Learning, where Casey Bell, that there's some things you can follow on Facebook. It gets a little dramatic sometimes. But Shake Up Learning by Casey Bell, she's the Google sorceress, and she makes it so easy. And so Casey Bell is my like spirit animal, and I will follow her anywhere to the ends of the earth, except for Katrina. I'll always follow her first. And there's the Google Applied Digital Skills. It's for educators and it's free. And they have these little short courses that are just take you maybe 6-7 minutes, and you can get badges for them. And it is anything and everything Google. And you can look at, Google Classroom updates and what is this and what is that. And so you go through these. Are you finding the Google, what I'm talking about, Katrina? Are you looking that up?
Yes, ma'am. I dropped the link in the chat, and I'm gonna drop one for Microsoft people that don't do Google. So
Okay.
yeah, Shake Up
Yeah.
Learning.
So yeah, the applied digital skills from Google. Get that one. So and this is one that is just phenomenal. I mean, thank you. And so I've learned everything. Google's constantly updating. And the other thing I can just say, and I actually posted a little video about this on Facebook the other day, because and Katrina didn't realize I didn't know this. Who did not tell me that you cannot? Do y'all do Power School there? Nobody told me you can copy assignments from the prior year into this year. Nobody told me that. I accidentally happened upon it while I was frustrated trying to find it, because I was sick of. We have 3 different districts in a career center. I have to log into 3 separate Power Schools to even create assignments, then to grade the assignments and to do the attendance. And I was losing my flipping mind the other day. So I just started digging around saying, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. There it was. I found it. So I put up a little 90-second snippet video and some of the Facebook stuff. But, just I'm a button pusher. I got to figure out what it's all about. And I will sit there and click buttons all day long until I figure it out. And if I figure it out and someone wants to know, then sure, I'll make a little video for them. But anyway, those are some great ones. That was a great question, Katrina. Okay, so we're down to 5 minutes. Please tell us what we can show you.
There's a comment. If anyone uses Infinite Campus, you can copy old assignments and grade books from years past and use them for current trimesters.
That's like
awesome.
Heaven.
Awesome. So yeah. Oh, my other tech tip, Pinterest. Y'all, I find so many ideas for activities on Pinterest. And you know what? I found out that is a valid way to curate your resources. That's the fancy word for it. So make yourself a Pinterest page and call yourself doing professional development. You're allowed.
Do it. Yep. So any questions? Anything else you want to show you? Anything like that? There's a HyperDoc that's my favorite ever, that I got obsessed with HyperDocs about 4 years ago, and everything was on a HyperDoc. And so there's an integumentary system hyperdoc in there that is my
You gotta
baby.
say, hey, you gotta say what a hyperdoc is.
Okay, a hyperdoc is a either a slide usually or a PDF, and it's got it's similar to a choice board, but it's on crack. So I'll just show it to you so you know where to find it, and I'll be happy to answer questions. I did have a little question, Katrina, if you will look in your files, for part 1, you see where I'm at here? I'm not seeing help videos, and
We
I
got
thought,
3
Wait.
minutes. We got
Okay.
3 minutes left.
okay, do you see what I'm saying? I don't see help videos.
I not. I
yeah,
did
we-
see him in a presentation. I saw your help
Yeah.
documents in a presentation.
Okay, so integumentary system, all activities. Here's my hyperdoc. I have some cool stuff for the skin. I'm just telling you right now. It's one of my favorites because I hated it, so I had to make it fun. So this is my hyperdoc I created, my very first one. And you go into these different links, and there's different videos or activities or whatever. And so you can go in and read it, and because I'm going through it fast. And there's some hyperlinks in here. But here's how these are the instructions. So, oh, here's the quick tutorial. It's on that YouTube thing. So that's a tutorial I did where I break this down and I show you exactly how to create it and how to show you how to do the responses and what the easiest way to grade it is. So hyperdocs are phenomenal. I can assign one for a unit on a Monday, and then we and have it due on Friday.
Okay, we better stop there.
We'll keep you up all night.
Okay, well, let's see. I have 7 o'clock. Stephanie, I hope we gave you what you needed. It's all recorded, and I'll send you the YouTube link so you can share it out with your teachers. Also, if you would, you might want to send a message out to all your teachers, because I mean, just with this sample tonight or today, it's not night yet for y'all, but with this sample here, we found 3 teachers that, needed the links. And so we don't want your good work to go not used. So if you find any others that it might have gone to spam, or maybe they were overwhelmed in September, you can just reach out to me, and we'll be happy to make it right for you and for them.
I will do that. When you send me the video, I'll send this back out to everyone again, and just let them know to reach back out. I've only heard from one other person who couldn't access it, and I shared that with you. So I think
Yeah.
we'll
And she actually, I think that was Karen, I think was her name. And hey, Karen. And I think she said she actually found hers and was downloaded. But the other 2 teachers that contacted me, I'll get them set up.
Sounds
Okay?
good. I think once they see the video of everything that's in there, they'll go try to find the links if they haven't accessed them yet. So
Right.
thank you, ladies, so much. This was great.
Oh gosh, thank y'all for being here for so long. And